Yes, one audio only. Nishant, are you there?
Yes. We are live now.
Thank you.
All right. So now, namaste, Nirmal ji. How are you?
I'm good, Jerry ji. Fine, thank you very much.
Right. So welcome to the learning experience conversations that we have every Friday with educationists, teachers, school owners, and so on. And we are very glad to have you on the show with our host and co-founder Itu Chopra. Itu Ji, we
Thank
should call
you.
her since she's insisting that everybody
No, no,
calls
it's
me
only
Ji,
Jerry G this
right?
time.
And it's been an interesting journey with you, Nirmal ji, because I remember we first met when you attended a public program on leadership, and
Yeah.
I was very inspired because to see that a principal and a director of a school was attending a program proactively. Normally, I do programs in schools where teachers and the principals are made to attend, but here it was you came all the way from Pune to Bombay, and then for 3 days you were very engrossed in the session. So I was very happy to see that spirit for learning and learning to learn, as we call it. So
It
great.
was a privilege meeting you there, sir, and I thoroughly enjoyed that program and
Thank you,
learned a
ma'am.
lot from there.
Thank you, ma'am. And great. I got to know more about your work, and that's how the nomination for the Education Change Champion Awards happen. I think it's very well deserved. So the
Thank
format
you.
that we have is that for the first 45 minutes, E2 has a conversation and a chat with you. We try to keep it as casual and candid as possible. And the idea is to create good content from the conversation, which is a good takeaway for all the participants and people who are listening into you and E2. And the intent is to create value and make a positive contribution for all our participants and people who watch the videos on Facebook and YouTube and wherever it is posted. So with that, I'll hand you over to Itu, and I'll become a fly on the wall and join you in the last 15 minutes to ask you some thought-provoking questions and generate some pointed insights.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you,
See you
ma'am.
later, sir.
Excellent. All the
Yeah.
best. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Namaste, Nirmal ji.
Namaste, Tuji.
So I'm going to come back to Nirmal
Yeah.
and leaving the G, as Jerry said, from the Kenny G. Leave the G for the time being and start with just dive into our having this conversation here. And I would want to really know that, how did this journey of a teacher, educator, and all of this begin? When did it begin? And tell me all about it.
Actually, I came into this profession by fluke. When we were students, we never had goal setting ideas in the school, no career guidance given by our schools. And I feel that today's generation, especially the students in our school, are blessed. And they get all these things from us. My grandfather, who was 90 years old, used to stay with me, and he had told me once that, Nirmal, you have to become a professor. And I think by his blessings, I'm here today. Later on, my father insisted that I finish my B.Ed before I get married so that I stand on my 2 feet. And every time I bless my father because he's no more, I remember him and I bless him that he made me do my B.Ed, because today it's an asset and it has made me grow so much as a person and as an individual in life. So I started as a teacher, then I became a middle school coordinator in an international school. I became a principal for 4 years in a CBSE school, and now I'm here. My journey has been long, but very few places I have joined. And I feel blessed and fortunate to be in the Kalyani school.
Yeah, so you said something very beautiful that your grandfather, who was 90-year-old, sort of he had sown the seed of this being a professor and a teacher, and your father also talked about all of this. So unknowingly, sometimes what our parents say, and if it falls into what our passion is, so it so beautifully germinates into taking forward few things. So that's really, really beautiful. And how far do you think that the today's generation children listen to that kind of a thing? Or is it the other way around now?
So we have a career guidance program in our school, and we bring the parents and the students at one level. And what happens is sometimes the children don't agree with the parents and the parents don't agree with the children. But our career counselor, sometimes she has to struggle and make them both think alike and bring them on the same platform. But I think nowadays the parents are very aware of the right profession, what is there in the market today. And when they see that the professional aptitude test, what we conduct for our children, and what are the results, what are coming out from there, they do pay heed to all these psychological tests, what we conduct in the school, and try to come at a common platform and help the children.
I'm intrigued by this thing that you say, that these psychological tests and all of that, because do you feel that it's the competence that takes them forward, or it's the character that takes them forward, or should the parents be interfering with the blooming and blossoming of the creativity in a child, what the child wants to take up as wanting to do in life?
I
What's
feel
your
that
take on
if a child shows some creativity in a particular field, and if I feel the parents are not agreeing to it, our career counselor and sometimes I from the background, we try to see that the parents understand that the child has this potential. So it is better that the child goes towards this profession, because if your passion becomes your profession, there's nothing like it. Life becomes very easy. Life becomes fun. And I think I'm in the right profession.
Yeah, no, I am all for passion being a profession, because you have to have fun every day and give it all your best, because only then you can do it, if you're really, really enjoying and doing things what you love doing. And from there, I'm going to ask you that, giving back in education, giving into society has been a big part of the Kalyani School's, ethos. So, what is it all about, and where did it all begin with you as a school leader? Because the school is fairly young.
Yeah, the school is 5 years young, and we have a way to go. This social giving is actually come through the Kalyani family. They are philanthropists, and they're known in the Pune family. And I also have a certain urge of giving back to the society. So when two like minds come together, it's a very easy journey. So we've implemented a lot of projects in our school, like the Each One Teach One. Now here, the students volunteer, and they handhold the children who require academic support and who have not come up to the desired class level, especially the RT children, we call them pupils. The pupils require a lot of help because they don't have any support from home. And plus, when the language becomes a barrier, it is difficult to sail through other subjects also. So mainly the focus is on building the languages. So our volunteers are trained by the English teachers and English as second language teachers. They are guided and they handhold each and every student who's allotted to that volunteer. Now, even in the lockdown period, initially the students used to stay back after school hours on Wednesdays and Fridays, and because those were the stay back days. Now during the lockdown, my volunteers sometimes are putting in 3 hours a week for each child virtually, or sometimes 5 days a week. I know a girl, I know a girl who spoke to me during my meeting with the volunteers, virtual meetings, that she's putting in 5 years, and both of them have built a rapport. And she told me that when she's in the 12th standard now, when she passes out of 12, she's definitely going to be in touch with that child. So
nice.
It's like, it's a good feeling. And then we have collection drives for used smartphones, the tabs, which now everybody requires, especially the RT children. We have the uniforms and the book drives for the poor children in the school. Helping hand to your neighbors is another project. Then talking to your elderly relatives, especially during the lockdown session, is another thing what we have told our children to do. because the relatives are in the lockdown, and especially the senior relatives, and they definitely enjoy getting a call um, from one of their nieces or nephews
Yeah.
or grandchildren. Now,
Yeah.
we have also started a project on recording stories for the blind, where,
Oh,
yeah, and the blind school is very happy when they get such um, audio
stories.
from us. And another project is a Gulak project, what I spoke about when I was a panelist in your um, session.
Yes.
And then we have the adult literacy program, where children from grade 9th upwards, they
Hmm.
on Saturdays, when the Didis and Bhaiyas, they don't have any events in the school, they are available to us. And we want to train the Didis and Bhaiyas to reach a level where, um, at least they can read the circulars what the are coming from their child's school.
Okay.
So at least the reading and writing part, the volunteers are taking care of. And there's another foundation called a Swasya Foundation, which is run by one of our parents only. We
Okay.
invite those children. They are kindergarten children as of now. And
Mhm.
I think she has about 15 or 20 of them. On
Right.
alternate Saturdays, our school buses go to pick them up and bring them to the school, and we share our resources with them. We have a music teacher, dance teacher, science teacher, art teacher, do some activities with them. And you can see the glow on their faces. I always meet them before they go, however busy I am. And they try to click a picture. And when I see those pictures, I feel satisfied.
That's so beautiful. So, Nirmal, tell me something about this stories of recording of the stories with the blinds for the blind school. What's the experience been like, and what do they say? And tell me about children, them. Tell me about it. Tell me more.
Um, this project had come from one of the um, managers of the blind school. In fact,
Hmm.
he's a grandfather of one of our students who's visually
Okay.
impaired. And when they suggested us these things, we were very happy to take it forward. And these recordings are passed to them. And during their free time, they listen to it. And now children have their mobiles also. So I
Hmm.
don't know what is the exact way of
Hmm.
implementation in the school, but we just pass it on to the admin department over there, and then they do the needful.
So the children on their own record the stories for them,
Yes, yes, children on our own record the
and
stories.
they do it in what language? Marathi or
All
Hindi?
languages, all languages.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So
Yeah.
even they're getting. Have you even zeroed down on what kind of stories that they're sending across?
Mostly we suggest them to have stories with a certain model, so that because they are also children, they should learn something from stories. And
Hmm.
this is,
That's a beautiful way of learning that you have incorporated
in
in this.
fact, I also wanted to share that recently one of our parent has volunteered to
Hmm.
teach our students who are volunteers for the blind school to do artwork through creativity. How it is going to be taken forward, I'm still amazed.
Something to do
And
with braille kind of thing.
yeah, and we'll just look into that.
That's lovely. Do share it with us later on because it's going to help
Definitely.
us on our Education Change Champion fellowship. And what is it about the calling the grandparents or calling your old people in the family? What is the learning from there? Do children share all of this with you?
Children, some of them have shared, some of them
Mm.
have not shared, but they tell us that they feel very empathetic towards the uh, people with whom they are speaking, because sometimes they speak to the old age senior citizens who are
Okay.
actually not connected with them through blood. And they say that when they listen to them, how lonely they are, we feel so sad for them. And sometimes we sing songs for them, we tell them stories, we ask them about their families. And uh, they feel that we have a certain peace in our heart after doing such things. And they have gratitude for all the blessings what they have.
That's so heartwarming to know, such volunteering lessons and gratitude is such a beautiful, beautiful power that, you're doing through such a beautiful way in your school through, the lockdown period. There's also great impact, work on environment and ecology in your school, and you are a science
Yeah.
student and a
Yeah.
biology, postgrad and all of that. So tell me something about the school projects under environment, and how has it led to children being very sensitive about climate change, such an important aspect, which is probably the root cause of all the ills we have around, including the COVID-19, because that's such an important aspect.
Actually, I'm a botanist and a nature lover. So these projects are next to my heart. And when I got an opportunity to start this 4 years ago, I jumped on it. We have one environmental education period once a week in our school. And we regularly get involved with different NGOs for the cleaning of the rivers and the hill projects also, so that the environment is maintained. A lot of afforestation drives are conducted where the children carry plants, they plant them, and this younger children, they carry the seed bombs to the hills so that during the monsoon season they can just blossom. And our school is also a zero waste school. We have compost pits in our school, and the children look after them and monitor them. We have a cafeteria, and all the organic waste coming out of the cafeteria is put in the compost pits, and we get a lot of compost from that, which is used for our gardening. This same compost has been put into bags, 1 kg bags or 5 kg bags, and it has also been sold amongst the teachers and the parents on our events day. And this money has been used for the community service. We, we also have recycling of cardboard boxes. We have a recycling room at the ground floor. Any plastic, any cardboard boxes, anything, any Amazon boxes or something coming, even the Diwali boxes which come for the mithais and everything, because we have so many events in our school, we utilize them and recycle them for all the artwork. On birthdays, we also have children bringing in plants. Yeah, that's another thing what we have. Recently, we've installed the solar panels. So our electricity bill, which was around 4 lakh a month, has been cut down to a lakh a month, which is very good. And we banned plastics and aluminum foils and thermocol in our school since a long time, because they are hazardous to the environment and they take a long time to degrade. As I shared with you, our school is a zero waste school. We have a paper shredder, and we shred all the papers and we make them into handmade chart papers, which are used for projects and everything. We are also looking at recycling of chalks now. So let's wait for it.
And are children excited to be participating in all this?
Yes, yes, they are very excited. I would also like to share with you that in one of the environmental lectures and the video, what was shown, it was clearly shown that because of the plastics which get converted into microbeads, they flow in the rivers and the oceans, and they go into the bodies of the fishes and the animals, and they are killed. And eventually all this enters our food cycle. The children have gone home. They have checked their shampoos and the face washes, and they've touched and seen the microbeads, and they've literally flushed them in the toilets. And when I hear about such things, I feel blessed to have such children in my school who actually listen to our environmental lectures and implement them. There's another story where I would like to share that. It's a small example. In the environmental class, we told them not to cut the milk bags in a triangular way, because that small triangle becomes into microbeads faster. So we have taught them to open the bags in a horizontal way so that nothing is fallen apart from that plastic bag, and then pour your milk in the container. Mostly the children have gone home and shared that with the parents, and all my teachers have started doing this, including me. And whenever I have a scissor in my hand, and I instruct my maids also to do that, I never allow them to cut a triangular portion of the milk bag, because we know what is the effect of that.
So that's so beautiful, from school is one place where, children listen to the teachers, and that's how the ripple effect has to go back into the society, where children take the education to the parents, and then from there to a lot of other people. And are children writing also about all of these
Yes,
environment
yes,
conscious behavior and techniques? Are they writing about it?
yes, we have an environmental education book. There are mind maps in it. There are reflections in it. So everything is happening with a reflection point of view. I want to share that the young children, when they sit with their grandfathers and their parents on a dining table, they share their stories of biomimicry and all those things which are taught in the environmental education things. And parents are amazed with such knowledge which our students share.
So are there any, now your school is still the 12th standard, if I'm right?
Yes, this is the first year of 12th standard.
Yes, yes. And so are there any students who started their own projects or NGO or something like that? Because, there is a lot of work and talk and knowledge dissemination that you do for environment, ecology, and, these little pointers that you give, they're so important for making environmentally conscious children, which is the need of the hour.
As of now, I'm not aware, but if anybody listens, any student is listening to this, they would love to share what they are doing with me. I'll be very happy so that I can pass it on to the next Karamveer people. And I'm sure eventually it's going to happen because our school is just
Yes.
5 years old. And as the children grow old, when these things are imbibed in them, it becomes second nature.
True.
So,
Yeah, because everything that I read about your school, there's so much of environmental consciousness that you're giving there to children, along with, of course, so many other learnings, that it is bound to bring some beautiful results to all of us as a society, and that is so beautiful. I'm coming back to Nirmal, to COVID times. Tell me, has it been easy? Has it been challenging? How has it been? Because the school has come home and the home has gone to school. It's been like, that kind of a thing. How has it been with you?
it's been a mixed feeling. Initially, it was very tough. March 15th, I was told by a GR notice sent from the Jilla Parishad that schools cannot remain open. And our grade 9 and 11 children were coming to school for lectures during that time. Suddenly, for the principal to announce to the students that from tomorrow you can't come to school, it was a difficult decision, but it couldn't be avoided. So we took that tough decision, and my teachers and the students have taken it very positively. They are both open to learning and change. Some teachers who were not tech savvy, they have unlearned, learned, and implemented also. And today they have become very tech savvy. The best part out of all this is the collaborative learning and the sharing which has happened amongst my teachers. My ICT team has held numerous workshops for the teachers. In fact, there were some teachers who didn't have a Wi-Fi connection. They didn't have proper laptops because this came all of a sudden. So we had to arrange laptops on an EMI basis. Somehow we got in touch with somebody. We sent mails to the teachers if it is okay. We to one or two teachers we've sent the laptops home also because they couldn't come. And with a medical pass or something through the admin staff, we have delivered the laptops to their places. So we have been able to do the asynchronous and synchronous learning in a blended manner till now. And I think we have reached a very good standard in the online learning and teaching process. But parents still have some mixed feelings, and we have some suggestions coming from them. If they are good, we implement them. If we feel it is not good from the education point of view, we just leave it.
What are the kind of things that parents, has their expectations changed, or what is it? Share with us.
Mostly have been very supportive. Though we sent mails to the parents that you have to sit with your children, especially till grade 4 when they are having the online classes, because we have both synchronous and asynchronous classes. But some of them have not been able to do it successfully. The reason is they themselves are working from homes. The maids are not coming in the house. The mother is busy working in the house. The father is giving a helping hand in the house. So a lot of are going on in the house. Sometimes we are successful, sometimes we are not in implementing the things what we want to. But the pace at which the academic and the co-curricular are going on It's at a very good pace. And whatever was there in the work plan, especially in the annual planner, whatever was there, we have been able to conduct all those sessions successfully.
I'm wanting to ask you, Nirmal, coming from what you just said, that the times are so different. We have never come across these kind of times ever. Children have never come across. For them, I think it's more difficult for children because all of a sudden their world has changed, and they're experiencing something so different. They can't go to play. They can't go out. My own niece who's in 12th told me that online used to be fun, and now online is no more fun because they're studying all the time.
Yeah.
So are you giving that kind of emphasis on curriculum studies, or it's kind of shifted a little? It's a little flexible. What is it like?
Initially, we did want to be at par with the academics standard what we have in our school. So we struggled, and with the various workshops, we tried to bring it at par. And eventually, from the month, we started all this from March 18th in our school, online teaching. April, we concentrated on the academics. But in the month of May, we have started the co-curricular activities, and yoga teachers, dance teachers, music teachers, drama teachers, and the sports teachers who are inculcating the skills through videos and online sessions, they have all been doing the sessions with the children. And children are very happy because I feel our children are our future. Though this comment is often repeated, the message is always relevant. Therefore, the factors that affect that future should be carefully taken into consideration when we deal with a child's life. In our school, education does not stop at curriculum requirements, nor does it concern only marks and academic grades. The activities that we design for the students are co-curricular and not extracurricular, and hence all the virtual sessions. In fact, we had planned the Founders Day in the planner. We started our events from Founders Day. We started from the assemblies. We had a bonding with that. We had a jam session, a spinner yarn session. Literary week is going on. Debates are going on. Our author's talk is planned for the coming week. And there's a lot of things planned. We are planning to take our children on virtual sanctuary visits.
Wow.
This is in the pipeline. So we are planning to relieve the children of the pressure of academics, which was given to them earlier in the month of April. The reason is the classwork, what we used to do in the class, is now supposed to be done at home. So naturally, the work which is going home is humongous. That's what I feel. But it can't be helped. But we are still looking at the year plans. In fact, I've called for a meeting with the small groups to see where we can reduce the curriculum and make it conceptualized learning instead of just finishing off the portion and making it a better year plan and ensuring that the vertical learning is not affected.
Because at the end of the day, it's about not just studying, it's about learning to learn or learning. And learning can happen in a lot of ways that you have said, that you're doing author's talk, you're doing yoga, music. And I think we need to bring in a lot of fun elements as of now into what's happening. I'm going to ask you this, Nirmal, have there been any bloopers, or has there any been, times when then things have really gone awry that one didn't anticipate, that because of having technical or online classes, things can go wrong? Would you like to share something?
Yeah, many times. In fact, right at the start, we had given our coordinators and our vice principal used to be shuffling between all the lectures, and wherever there was a technical glitch, they used to participate. In fact, recently, one of our Spanish teachers, she couldn't conduct the lesson because of the technical problem facing. She didn't have a proper Wi-Fi connection and all. My vice principal, she just came in that class and she took over. She taught social studies in a beautiful way for that same age group. And learning has to happen in any way. So the time was not wasted. And I'm seeing all thank you messages coming from that teacher that you took over my class. I'm sorry I had this glitch and all these things. It happens. In fact, before the session started, I was just sharing with you that if I have to share my PowerPoint, sometimes in a meeting, it doesn't reach the other end. I have to keep on waiting. And I'm asking from here, it is showing presenting. Are you seeing it? But they say no. Then I ask somebody else to share that, because then I mail it from here and do it. And the same thing has to be kept in mind for the events, because in an events we can't have such glitches. So there has to be a lot of teamwork planned and coordination. So if one person has a PowerPoint, second person also has a PowerPoint. So if one person passes on a message that I have some technical problems, you start the PowerPoint, so that other person is ready. And by God's grace, till now, all our events have been very, very successful without any technical glitches.
Best visual, good. So there's a lot of teamwork and there's a lot of bonhomie. There's a lot of a new beautiful, cool casualness to school. Would you say that?
I can say that, but I still feel the emotional connect is missing. And when my children were in school, they were more cool.
Okay.
I can say that.
But I think it's a different kind of tech cool, if we may call that. Yeah. So tell me, how has the response of the parents been in all of this change of academic, curricular activities and things like that? Have they been equally participative? Have they been part of the team? What has been your experience there? Because I think parents, the holy trinity, as we call the teacher, parent, and the children, they have to work in tandem to bring out the best.
Yeah, at school believes in a three-way handshake, and parents do offer a lot of help to us also, and we also from the school offer a lot of help to the parents. We have been conducting a lot of positive parenting workshops, phonics workshops, and fine motor skills workshops for the elementary section. And we try to handhold the parents. In fact, in our PTMs, we had an online PTM. The teachers gave personal calls to the parents, and care calls were given before this to the students to understand how they were feeling. So in all these sessions, when we come to know that a child is troubled or a parent is troubled, our pastoral care department comes in between, and the counselors take over, and they speak to the parents, they speak to the child, and things are eased off. So I can say that a lot of effort has been put in by our school teachers, and it's like they have उन्होंने कमर कस ली है कि the learning is not going to stop anyway, and they have to give their best, whether it's in the school. वो ऐसा है कि मैं तुम्हारे घर में भी आके पढ़ाऊंगी, and we are not going to be bogged down by all this COVID-19 and all, and I am there to look after you, I'm there to take care of you. So we've arranged coffee meets also in small groups for the teachers, so that they are also emotionally handled, and they feel nice. So emotionally, we are trying our best to look after the mental health of the students, the teachers, and the parents also. But still, parents are also bogged down, I can say, because it has not been their role always to be 100% teacher at home for the student, for their own child. And it's difficult. Sometimes the parents, they have siblings, they don't have enough gadgets at home. So they concentrate on the elder child who's there in the house, and the child who's supposed in the senior KG, he's not looked after. And then when the teachers give care calls at home that your child hasn't logged in, I haven't seen the child in the virtual class, and this homework and this assignment has not been submitted. So they said that, ma'am, this is my problem. What do I do? Do I look after the house? Do I look after my job? Do I look after my elder child? Or do I look after the youngest child? So then we have student volunteers pitch in. Our teachers give academic support in the evenings to such children when the parents come home. So there's a lot of hand holding happening. This situation is very tough for everybody.
Yeah, and I think teachers are heroes in their own right.
I truly agree.
I think children are also great heroes, the way they have adapted and adopted to the change scenario, both teachers and students. Yeah. It's worth a celebration, because these stories are going to go long time now.
I totally agree with you. Recently, we conducted some Padlets and some multiple choice questions assessments for grade 2. I told my teachers, let's try for grade 1. We can share the link in the chat box and let's see if the children can do it. And the children did it. I was so surprised. They just opened that link on their own, and it is like a radio button. You have to just answer. So they could manage all that. So children are very smart. In fact, they will leave us behind. We have to just give them a hand.
Yeah.
So
So, yeah.
a lot of
Nir-
learning has happened.
yeah, yeah. Nirmal, you
And,
talk. Yeah, yeah. Tell me. Go ahead, please.
and I feel that the students are actually the main heroes who are locked down in the houses, and
Yeah,
they are the ones who used to go out all the time, but
yeah.
they have stayed in the houses, done the academics, done the little bit of co-curricular, and still I think very little complaints I'm hearing from parents about this.
I am so impressed with these children and teachers. I'm like, hats off to them. They're doing such beautiful, beautiful work, holding all of us together because I think it's a very, very important part, education and children. Nirmal, I want to ask you one thing that you talk a lot about life skills, human skills, ethics, thinking skills, and you've done a lot of work on yourself to be, working on those points as a school leader. And are you able to do justice to all of that in this time? Otherwise,
Uh,
yes.
I don't think so much, though we still hold the life skills classes once a week, but
Mm,
the emotional connect is missing. When a teacher is in a child and if she's asking a child to share some experiences, and
mm,
if she's not able to see the expressions of a child, she's not able to gauge what's happening with the child. Sometimes the children are struggling inside, and they are not able to put it into words, but the
yeah.
teacher sees the face and she understands, and then she definitely, the counselors take the children in the corner and they have one-to-one sessions and such things. But in an online session I feel these connections are definitely missing.
Yeah. Nirmal, you talk a lot about emotional connect, and that's a very, very important part of human connect. Where where we are imparting knowledge or when we are learning is a very, very important aspect, and that you feel is missing link in these online classes. Is it so?
It's missing, but we are trying to get over this.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, we had the homeroom teachers period with the children just fortnightly, but we are going to plan it weekly now, where the teacher is not going to talk about academics at all. She's just going to have a one-to-one talk with the children and ensure that she listens to the children, and whatever help in case she sees it is needed in for that particular student, she will ensure that she gives it after academic hours to that child. So we are trying our best to start building that missing link, what is there, and start doing justice to what we used to do when we were in school. Because
You know,
I remember that children used to come running to the pastoral care, to the counselors to share, even if there was a small fight or something. Here,
yeah,
they just have a phone number of the counselors. But
yeah,
how many of them pick up the phone and call the counselors? I don't think so. There'll be many.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, speaking is a skill, but I think listening is a bigger skill that probably teachers have to adopt and adapt now in these changing times because children need to be heard. I'm sure there are a lot of stories that they want to talk about, and they're missing the normal kind of school. So are teachers also missing? That must be another aspect.
Yes. In fact, today morning itself, I was having a meeting with the co-committee, and her child was just stepped in from behind, and we just asked him, how are you feeling, Rudra? Do you want to come back to school? He told me, ma'am, I want to come to school immediately, but what do we do?
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, yeah. It's these are those times. So it was so beautiful having this lovely, lovely conversation with you. I'm going to call Jerry back in here at this point and take the conversation forward with you, Nirmal,
Sure.
with Jerry and his insights from what all we kind of discussed right now.
Thank you very much, Itu.
All right, and we are back, Nirmal ma'am.
Hi,
Excellent.
Jerry.
Great
Yeah.
conversations happening over there. Yes. So Nirmal G, since we are
On
stuck
the
on
G
the
mode
G
today.
part, like Parle G. So there was something which I was. I think I'll go backwards today, and I'll start with the last insight I got from the conversation. about speaking and listening.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take this conversation to another place, because sometimes, what I think what happens with us who are in the learning space as professionals or teachers is that we think we know it all and we keep speaking. And I'm going to connect this insight to the online insight later on, what
Yeah.
you spoke about, emotional connect, etc. And around 2 years ago, it was around this time, July or August 2018, and the CEO of Speaking Tree, which is a part of Times of India, he invited me for one of his Speaking Tree events. He said, Jerry, I would like you to come and speak a few words, and then I would also like you to observe why, even though people pay a lot of money, they pay around ₹1 lakh plus to come for these events in a five-star hotel, but somehow the feedback that we receive is not up to the mark after the 5 or 6 day event. And they bring all the spiritual gurus who do a lot of mumbo jumbo and teach you all the spiritual stuff like it can be taught, right? And I was sitting through this session with a lady called BK Shivani, right? She's from the Brahma Kumaris. And these are all elderly people who paid lakh and a half to come and stay in the Taj Vivanta hotel. And they are asking her questions. And she's like, don't ask questions, don't ask questions, listen to what I'm telling you, practice it. And I said, how does that happen? Right? Because this is not even pedagogy, this is andragogy, which means you're learning with adults. And I think the same principle applies to schools. And I go into a school for 1 hour or 2 hours or maximum a day. And in that 1 hour, whether the kids are 7 years old or 17 years old, or there are students who are 25 years old, I have an immediate connect with them. And many times the professors and teachers ask me, they say, how is it that you got to connect with them so fast? And I'm like, I think the basic difference is that I don't speak to them, I speak with them.
Yeah.
It's a very thin line, but it's I think a huge leap of faith, because what happens with us as teachers, and this is a conscious check and balance which I have to do, because when I'm in a learning space, I'm mostly teaching people in corporates. These are all your people who come from the best premier educational schools and expensive Ivy League colleges, and they don't want to listen to advice or suggestions. But what we do is we purely facilitate learning, and slowly they realize that they don't know it all, because you don't want to tell a CEO or a CXO whose ego is already bloated enough that you don't know anything, man. We are just human beings, we don't know everything. Now this same concept applies to a teacher, and I think that is the challenge, because when regular classes were happening, we were not used to making it interactive, because it's a one-sided monologue which is happening mostly in schools. Whether it is in my era, when I went to St. Xavier's High School in Bombay, we used to hear the teacher reading and explaining to us from the textbook. And currently also, I think it's the same thing happening. And I think what needs to happen is that teachers have to open the space to make it more interactive, to engage the student in a discussion, what I call as the Socratic learning method, where you plant a thought in the room and let the students discuss insights and thoughts around it. What are your thoughts on this, ma'am?
I totally agree with you, Jerry, but I would not agree that there is no interaction in the school. In good schools,
Okay,
there is a lot of
sure,
collaborative learning amongst children.
sure.
There's a lot of interaction
I,
happening.
I, I, I was talking about schools in general. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I
I was
don't
not talking.
want to
I was not
comment.
talking about the Kalyani school, but just schools in general.
No, I think in for most of the schools, they have the principals, the teachers have been trained, especially in the CBSE schools, where they know there are a lot of things coming up. The CBSE is sending a lot of circulars, and they
Right,
have to meet those challenges.
right,
So slowly, the tide is changing.
right,
We have a long way to go, but the
right,
tide is changing. I want to just assure you about this.
right,
And it's no longer one side monologue is happening, because my children, if they don't ask questions,
right,
I will be very upset with it. And that's the
right.
reason I never call my teachers. They are my facilitators.
Right, absolutely. And I completely get where you're coming from, and I loved your defense. right? And and I completely agree, because I mean I do a lot of work with teachers. I have a program called Not Just Teachers but Enlighteners, Awakeners and Transformers, which is our flagship program for teachers. So I know that change is happening, and yet while I wouldn't say that this is happening in some good schools or expensive schools or premier schools, I would at the same time not say that this is the mindset of every teacher. And in one of the panels earlier, in the learning experience with another teacher, I had said, no, in the same school where my son goes, there was a maths teacher who said, how your son asks too many questions. And she was complaining that our son is asking questions about maths. And in the same school, the next year, there was another teacher who was telling us, we love the questions your son asks us. He makes us think whether I know maths, right? So it all depends on the mindset of a teacher. And I'm happy that you have a progressive mindset. Which brings me to the next connect, which is that to make online learning engaging, interesting, and energizing takes much more effort because your physical presence is not there.
I agree.
Which means that you really need to kind of now understand, how do you hold those 25 or 30 students. Progressive schools probably have 25 or 30 students in a class, which is manageable. But then there are schools which are not, I wouldn't call them not progressive. It's just that they can't probably afford to have one teacher to 30 students. So you pack in more students in a class. And then it gets even more difficult, because whether you're using Zoom or WebEx, I'm doing online webinars now, and I'm doing it with 3,000 people or 8,000 people. And I completely feel no connect, because I know they can see me, but I'm not feeling like, I can't see the audience, whether they are appreciating it, or what is the, because, as a public speaker also, you listen to the audience. Many people find this very odd when I tell them that don't speak too much as a public speaker, listen to the audience, because a person's body language and gestures tell you whether they are engaged with you or not.
Yeah.
Right now that same energy has to be transformed online. And if some people have it, like like the Googles of the world, and the people who benefit from making education online can have their way, right? I think the Google people and some people in the IT sector have spoken about this. The only person who's spoken sense so far about this is a man called Satya Nadella of Microsoft, who said that online classrooms or online working from home permanently is never a solution. He's more spoken about the corporate space. It's never a solution, because, like you rightly said, human beings are emotional creatures. We are emotional social animals, right? So I could have a bad hair day with my management, and something has gone completely wrong in a meeting, and then I'll get all the frustration out at home, right? Because I'm not having a connect with another colleague. Or then I come out of that meeting and I come in and I plonk on my chair in my cubicle and I say nonsense, right? Just loudly. And the guy sitting next to me, my colleague, says, absolute nonsense, man. Yeah, I agree with you, right? And it's a release of oxytocin and serotonin. That's how the brain works. And you feel relieved, because it's like a release for you. So now that's the same thing with children are going through right now, because
Yeah.
suddenly you shifted the entire focus online. And in online, the first challenge is that the teacher has not been educated, because this was just a situation putting you into that cauldron, right? So you put the teachers into that burning oil, and now they have to swim in that burning oil while it is stinking them with that hot oil. So how and so they don't really know how to engage students online, right? And then there is the history that we have not even been engaging students in classrooms. So how do we bridge this gap? What if this corona thing does not go even in the next 2 years?
Please don't say that.
No. I think we have to be prepared. I always say prior proper planning and preparation prevents poor performance, because we are far away from a solution, except for Lord Ram's mandir, which is going to get rid of corona. That's the latest I heard today, right? So say let's say worst case scenario, because I don't see this going anywhere. I think this is going to become a way of life, at least for the next 1 year, if not more. So
Uh,
so so now, so they're big, they're big questions, Zoya, and I'm really looking for
Yeah.
some insights, Zoya. How do we make it engaging? Secondly, the in Delhi NCR, students who have cleared their class 10 can attend class 11 classes, but in Pune or in Bombay, Maharashtra board, and I think it's also in Karnataka, a lot of schools are college. Those admissions are not happening, and students, when they go to a junior college, their entire environment has changed, because they're going from a familiar environment into a completely
Yeah.
unfamiliar environment, right? So how would we address the challenges is a big challenge for me. Does it mean that students will have to waste at least 1 year? What are your thoughts on this?
I don't think so. Wasting a year is a solution. The way we are doing academic learning, both it's a blended learning, what is happening. I think even the state boards can think about that. And I think most of the good schools have, colleges have already started that. And the emotional connect, what you said is we are trying to make the online classes little interactive by
Right,
using a lot of tools. We've trained our teachers in Kahoot, in Padlet, in quizzes, in Google Forms, and Neopod. So all these techniques make the lessons little lively. The
okay,
children are racing with each other to finish the Kahoot things, and
right,
it becomes interactive in that way. In fact, some of the children
right,
started chatting amongst each other during the
right,
online lectures to interact with each other.
right,
So we are planning to have only one interaction session with the students where they can openly interact with each other. So we have to devise certain ways and means to um, understand what is needed by the students and work accordingly. We are trying our
right,
best. And I think unless and until there's a vaccine which comes out at the earliest,
right,
parents are going to be hesitant to send their children to school. And we will have to carry on with both physical learning in school, in parts, in groups, in with social distancing and everything, along with the online learning which is going to happen at home. And instead of calling the children for 6 days a week, we might call them for 2 days a week or something like that. But everything depends on the government directives. So we are
right,
just waiting for that, but we are fully prepared and equipped because we have taken the SOPs from particular agencies how to get better equipped for this COVID-19 situation so that we don't leave any stone unturned for the safety
right,
and of our students and the teachers and the admin staff.
right, right. Very nice, excellent. So I'm happy that schools are proactively working on this. I don't much trust the state, very frankly speaking, because I'll say this candidly, because in fact my saner half in fact led a fight against the entire ICSC board, because they wanted to conclude and complete the last few
Yeah.
exams that they had stalled because of the lockdown. And when the lockdown happened, there were not too many cases in the country, so you could have actually let those four remaining examinations to be completed.
Yes.
And then when the cases rose, you wanted to do exams and send our children to school
Yeah.
and give us no choice. So I frankly have no faith in the state, but I'm happy that schools are proactively working on it, because the state is talking a lot of nonsense, like I said, right? That the when the Lord Ram Mandir gets not even built, but when we inaugurate it, COVID will disappear. I hope it happens, and not just for Indians, but for the entire world, because Lord Ram should be taking care of the entire world, not just the Indian people. Or next, maybe these people will say that they'll only take care of the Hindu people. Anything goes. Or on a different note,
Yeah.
right? We spoke about some about how online is fun for most children, because online till the COVID pandemic happened, I think was more related with gaming, or
Yeah.
watching some fun videos, or playing some interactive games, etc. And suddenly the fun has become a tedious chore,
Yes.
right? So I think the challenge now is to how to make learning fun,
Yes.
right? And I
Yeah.
think that is a very essential part of the learning to learn process. And this is something we learn in behavioral learning or NLP, that the moment you make something which is a chore into fun, that same thing which looked tedious once upon a time starts becoming more fun. There's a very
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
book by Milton Erickson called Uncommon Therapy, where he covers this in detail. Yeah. Finally, I want to ask you some insights about the environmental education and learning that you're all doing. And I was very happy to note that in your school you have a lot of focus on this.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of schools have environmental studies happening in
Yes.
schools. We had Madhu Bhatnagar, who has been
In
environment
fact,
champion.
I want to share that this project is handled by Miss Madhu Bhatnagar in our school from SEL,
Right,
and
right,
she has been the inspiration behind this whole thing.
Yes.
The way
right,
she handholds my teachers, it's fabulous.
right. Very
She talks
nice.
very highly of your school and your staff.
Thank you so
Right.
much.
So she
It's all
also
credit to my team.
very nice, excellent. And I'm happy to see that team spirit with you, which I know about you because we've gone through this entire process, even in the leadership learning. And Madhuji is also the environmental. She's been a Karmavir Award recipient for a long time now. And my challenge is that after all this environmental education is happening in schools, I get challenged by some of the symbolic or jingoistic nonsense that we do, right? And I want your insights on this, defensive or offensive, whatever, right? For example, on sometime in March, I think earlier it was March 23rd, and I kept writing about it, that don't do this funny symbolic nonsense on Bhagat Singh's birthday, right? Because
Mm.
March 23rd is
Yeah.
also Shahidi Divas, right? Anniversary, sorry. Um, so there's this thing called Earth Hour, which happens, right? And people love it. They put their lights out for 1 hour. Residential complexes send out directives that we should have all our lights out for 1 hour. And then the same jokers, what I call as the world's largest hypocrisy, waste electricity through the year.
Yes.
How does that work? How does
Um,
that work?
See, what they do is we can't control it. But our
No,
children
no, no. But
definitely.
the thing is that the children are belonging to some of these parents, no?
But
Same people
yes,
do it.
I agree. But I can also tell you that my children conduct energy audits. And in fact, in the assemblies in the morning session, every single day, there
Right,
is a group uh, who is in charge of the energy audit. They announce that I have seen the lights open in so and so staff room and in so and so class. Please ensure that this does not happen. And I have given them freedom that in case the lights are on in my room also, and if I'm not there in that room, please announce it so that I'm aware of it and I take
right,
precautions
right,
not to waste electricity and eventually water also. All the things we are teaching them, but how much it is being implemented at home is actually sometimes the parents also resist. Like I can
right,
openly tell you, I have seen
right,
such parents. If the children are switching off the lights after they pass from that particular room, the parent is going and switching on the lights. तेरा क्या जाता है? Bill तो मैं भरता हूँ ना.
right.
I have
Completely.
I have come across such parents. And for adults to bring about a change, I think first we need to change our own selves.
Right,
Only
right.
then we can think of changing somebody else. So they have to be responsible adults, and it's very difficult to teach adults to save electricity and all such things. But I
Absolutely,
think
Nirmal ma'am. I completely, because this is something which I get in every school that I've worked with, where teachers tell me, we are teaching them values, Jerry, the parents are doing something else at home.
not all I can say, but some of them.
Yeah, right, right. I'm just giving you a sweeping statement, which brings me to the final insight I want from you before we close, is you spoke something about mixed feelings of parents.
Yeah.
What are those all about?
We do both synchronous and asynchronous learning.
Right.
So, in that, some videos and PowerPoints are being put up in the Google Classrooms and the Microsoft Teams. And this is specifically done so that the parents who are working, they can open the videos and the PowerPoints at any time and help the child.
Right.
And
Right.
in the online classes, we do the doubt clearing sessions and teaching of the difficult concepts also. So it is going on both ways.
Right.
But
Right.
sometimes parents feel बहुत
Right.
calm है. There's a lot of academic work which is being passed on. But I want to tell the parents, please understand that more than half of that work was being done in the school. Now
Right.
schools are closed. If we don't ask support from you, from whom do we ask support from? So you have to
Right.
support us and eventually support your child to come up to the desired class level. But still, if
Right.
we get calls, if the class teacher gets calls during the PTM and she understands that the child is having some problems in academics, that the parents are not able to contribute, we handhold them. We
Right.
have special classes for them, and we have a
Right.
volunteers who look after the younger children in the school and try to help them out. We have a hope, and the things planned out, but only thing is parents should ask for help, but they should
Right.
not shrug off their duties also, because it is their duty as of now, because we are under a lockdown. And this is the support I'm asking from all the parents.
Right.
Please ensure that learning continues. And if you have difficulty, don't hesitate to approach us. You have all the email IDs. And same thing I'm telling all the parents in whichever schools their children are, that approach the authorities if you have difficulties. I'm sure everybody is going to just give you a helping hand and try to solve your problems.
Right. I think most parents, especially the working ones who are, of course, right now working
Yeah.
from home, right? They think school bhej diya to school will take care of the entire education. So their role and responsibility is not much understood, I think. Most parents, I'm not saying all, but most. Would you agree with that?
um, there are,
Keeping in
because
mind that your parents are listening.
no, some of them do think like that. I'm going to be honest. But during the
Right.
school, when the school is working, it's okay with us because the children learn in the school.
Right.
Our teachers are very good. They
Right.
facilitate the program in a very nice manner. But when you're in a
Right.
lockdown, how much help can we give you? So you need
Right.
to support us, parents. You need to understand that it is a three-way handshake. The
Right. Very
teachers,
nice.
the parents, and the students, they all have to be supported and hold each other's hand. We are there to support you. But please
Right.
ask for help and don't shrug your duties.
Right. Very
Because
nice. Excellent. I think Mark is listening in somewhere because I did see his presence on the Facebook chat. And Mark Parkinson was before he became our Rex Karmovir mentor and advisory founding member, uh, he was the director of the school where our sons go.
okay.
And in 2002, when the fundamental duty number 11 was added to the Indian Constitution as one of our fundamental duties, that every parent guardian would take care of his ward child. I never understood why it was added, because I said, "ये तो given है ना," because every parent would take care of their warden child. Then I started going to school, and of course, Mark was the director over there. In the first year of school, Zoravar, our eldest son, was in kindergarten, and Mark and his team had organized this brilliant science fair, right? And they had not charged us any extra fees or anything for that, right? If parents want to volunteer for the science fair, please come forward and do make it a point to come for the fair along with your kids, right? So it was a weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and I remember on Sunday I volunteered, and then I was also watching this fascinating presentation by a mother and her daughter team who are teaching you how the entire digestion process
Oh,
works, right? So taking biscuits and bread, like the food consumption, to the waste matter that we pass out. They showed the entire. I said, "Yeah, brilliant! I think I'll watch this again and again." both Joravar and I had the sense in the back, and I said, seriously, what would you be doing? Watching some soap opera? And that's when I understood why they put that uh, fundamental duty number 11, because a lot of parents don't them as simply the responsibility of the school. And I remember Mark Parkinson then in the next year made it mandatory that all the parents. But like I always say, if you don't make the right choices, then enforcement happens. So thank you so much for that, Nirmal ji, Nirmal ma'am, for some brilliant insights and some great learning for all of us, for me especially, for E2, I'm sure, and for all the participants. Pleasure having you at the learning experience conversation. And any closing thoughts from you and E2, and then we shall pack up.
I would like to thank you and E2 for calling me here. It's a privilege and an honor
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
to be
Always a
speaking on
privilege to
such
you.
a big platform. And I wish you all the best. You people are doing a wonderful job by spreading the good things what are happening in different schools so that other schools can ensure that they can also do such things. In fact, I've
Right.
picked up a lot of ideas because of Aditi Mishra's um, talk what you
Right.
had with
Right.
her. And
Right.
when the genuineness is there and the passion is there to do, I think we can achieve a lot.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your candor. I must appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very straightforward, very forthright. Brilliant. Excellent. Great insights. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Have a
Yeah.
great
Itu,
evening.
you too, and Itu, any closing thoughts from you?
I love the conversation that we had, Nirmal, and your school is part of our ex family. You are part of the family. The learning goes on. I really like the efforts that you're doing, and I would take one thing from your conversation is the emotional connect that you're trying to make through so many initiatives, like talking to the old people or sending stories to the blind. I'm sure it's such a beautiful inspiration and a learning for a lot of people, not just schools and school children, but for a lot of people. Thank you so much for taking out time to be with us, Nirmal. And we look forward to more participation and more learning with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
It's been a
ma'am.
pleasure.
Namaste and
It's
great.
been a pleasure.
Have a great evening. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.